Oj, vad det här ska bli spännande. Ryssarna vann igår. Den vinner idag. 8 varv. Island. Som var på hemmaplan i Minneapolis. To bring home the yellow jersey has taken the lead from Carl, Niskanen, Karlsson, Henny, Andersson and Svan. 15 längst ut till högre bild är det Barnibom. Då har vi skidor som är Heidelägg då, som lyfter ner detta norska på en sjätteplats. Följd av Katarina Henriksson.
Итак, всех любителей лыжных видов спорта и лыжных гонок в частности мы приглашаем на этап Кубка мира по лыжным гонкам, который проходит в шведском Falun-En. Это заключительный этап Кубка мира.
Nice and gentle it feels out of the stadium.
Yeah, I agree. It does look, I don't want to say pedestrian, but certainly not completely go from the gun there. And you can see on these slight uphill sections as well, the effect of that is the pack kind of accordions together, so everyone kind of comes together on those uphill sections and then stretches out a little bit on the flat from the downhill. So it's actually quite hard work to be at the back of this because you're stopping and starting quite a lot. The ones at the front are getting a bit of a smoother ride, but Diggins looks there like she's keeping the pace very controlled, and I think she is at the front. I don't know if that's through choice or not, but she's certainly saying, well, if I'm here, but I'm not going to do any more work than I have to do.
That's interesting. Yes, I mean it is. You mentioned the stretch out there, which often indicates that the pace is firm, and now we're kind of picking up with the pack here after 20 athletes have gone through. And for those at the back in the back quarter, their mission, I am sure, and we've heard that from Aiduka, the best athlete, Latvian athlete, just saying that yeah, she'll just want to try and live with the pace, live with the best, and that's an easier race, isn't it, to get dragged on effectively?
Yeah, it's always there's a tough call if you're somewhere in that middle to the back of the pack to kind of think, yeah, how long do I stay with this pack? Because obviously if you're in the pack and you have the effect of the draft, it makes it much easier, but equally there's a risk of kind of going off a little bit too hot, burning all your energy up early on, so you do have to decide, you know, when to stay with them, when not. But for most of the athletes, certainly the top 30, they'll be wanting to stay with the pack and with the pace as long as possible.
Interesting. It's well broken up at the moment, and what a contrast in terms of weather. You can see the smiles on the faces of all the athletes today. Day one, it was pouring with rain at +6 for the sprints. It was an awful day. Yesterday, the snow barely stopped dropping all day, and high wind and fog as well came in. And today, the skies have opened up. Blue sky moment. It feels good.
Oh, what a way to end. Nice for to have the spectators out. They were a little bit thin on the ground, I must admit, completely understandably yesterday. It was not a day to be out of your house if you didn't have to be. Out in force today, and perfect tracks as well. We get a really nice view here as they head up this hill of nicely, perfectly groomed, nice and firm. So these are great conditions for skating.
Just talk us through the track. So it's 20 kilometres, a combination of variations in terms of loops, and quite a huge total climb today over this 20-kilometre journey.
So it's essentially a 5k loop, but it's split into 2.5k loops. So you've got a 2.5k red, at which point they go back through the stadium, and then a 2.5k blue loop it's called. So it's basically 5k, but they will come through the stadium on that. Yesterday we went up the famous hill in Falun, the Morderbakken it's called, which is the kind of killer hill today. It's a mini version of that, so the smaller version. So not the biggest hill here, but still a pretty big climb. That's what they're approaching now. It's on this first half of the course.
Yeah, and you just get a sense, Posey, you're looking down there, from here it doesn't look that brutal. Remember, they've been up quite a stiff climb to the end of the straight that we're looking down towards. And look, have a look at this. The climb still comes up to here, and now a reprieve just as we pass the co-op banner there.
Yeah, so this is the just about the hardest part of the course, and then once they have got through that, they should be onto a longer downhill section, I think.
They are, yes, and then it's over the bridge there, so you're carrying good speed today. Yesterday in the classic race, they barely carried any speed down this descent.
Almost stopping dead.
Almost stopping, double poling almost down here with the amount of snow falling, so this has to be a feel-good factor today. There's the bridge. Sometimes that bridge can be, if there's so many athletes side by side, we've seen tangles and falls there previously.
Yeah, and again, it just this sort of ping-pong effect a little bit, or not ping-pong, but the pack kind of spreading out and coming back together. It will stretch out on these downhill sections a little bit over the top, just as each athlete comes over. I would expect it to come back together again. At the bottom of the downhill as they come through the stadium for the 2.5k split time. But I do think it shows the benefit of being near the front. Obviously, if you're right at the front, you are doing quite a lot of work. You're pulling the pack along a little bit. But if you're near the front, you can ski with a much more even pace.
Well, it's quite interesting. It's really turned into a firm pace now, without a doubt. When you see it so spread, they're all top-class athletes. Jessie Diggins now really to the top of the steep climb, the first of the many climbs. I think that was a firm picking up to full-on attack pace almost.
Yeah, I think over the hill that certainly ramped up. I think the first sort of kilometre or so at the stadium, as you say, was fairly not too bad, but as they hit the big hill, the pace went up, and they're certainly working now. And I think those athletes behind them realise, that there's a little bit of danger here of dropping off the back, so they're all working hard over this section, attacking the downhill to make sure they get on the back of the tails of those lead skiers, because they don't want to risk dropping off this early.
This is incredible. Heidi Weng, we did have a little interview with Heidi Weng. She was very modest. She's had a good season, not her best season. She's won this overall title, as I mentioned, twice, but maybe Heidi Weng wanting to go out, end the season on a high.
I'm sure she'd love to, and she did really well in the 15k mass start in Canmore. She had a third place there, and she said she likes the longer distances. She's often been really good at skiathlons, which are 15k, so she does like the slightly longer distance. Good all-round skier, good classic and skate, but it certainly looks like she's not afraid to take the pace on today.
She's not, and she is ranked 7th in terms of the Distance World Cup, so the trophy's being chased today. The Distance World Cup, which effectively Jessie Diggins will pick up. She has 1,493 points. It's Victoria Carl, and that's why Victoria Carl is up alongside her in second place with 1,309 points.
So it does look like the pack's just about come back together here. There's these first sort of 15 or so skiers at the far end of the screen. There's a slight gap here to these ones behind. That's Parmakoski coming through there. So they are working hard to bridge that gap, but I think it will come back together again. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The pace up that hardest hill of the course has spread it out.
It really has. And Jessie Diggins, she's just wanting this so much, the victory. She was the first ever non-European to win the overall World Cup standings for women, and she's on the cusp. She's on the edge of doing it for a second time.
Yeah, interesting. I do think this is a bit of cat and mouse here today, because it feels to me like this is slowed up again now. Weng's
she's slowed it down.
Working, but it's certainly not the pace it was up the hill, so maybe a strategy of just trying to grind away each time on the uphills, drop a few more off.
Yes, it certainly has. It appears to have slowed down. You can see Heidi Weng just disappearing off to the distance. Here she is from the front angle now. This part of the course, it's still uphill. It's still continual grind up this section, and then another little reprieve before they loop around onto the red, isn't it, the first one?
Yeah, we're on the blue now, so we've done the 2.5k red. We're on the blue, so this is a steadier climb here. Not I wouldn't say gentle by any means, but not the steepest. And as we're skipping out the really big hill that you can do on this loop, and then heading back in to do the sprint course.
I'm just noticing Posia colour change. The white suits of Sweden are slowly making their way forward. I know we're only at 3.3 kilometres, but at 5.8, those vital bonus points across the 5.8 line.
Yeah, and it is important to position yourself near the front to be ready for that moment.
So the race and the pace has been quite fast. It seems to have settled down again, nearly 10 minutes on the clock in this 20-kilometre race. The athletes have moved through the 3.3 marker, so still very early stages, but have a look how stretched out the 63 athletes are, well and truly spread all the way along the track. Is that Claudel from France? It is Delphine Claudel. She's not chased any of this early big pace. She's happily, I think, sitting at her own pace about quarter of the way down the field.
Yeah, I think so, and as I say, I think that it did stretch out a bit. It was a firm pace up that long hill, and I think that did catch some athletes out by surprise. It's eased up a little bit, so there's chance for people to get back together, and it stretches out on the downhills and comes back together on the uphills unless someone is willing to take the pace on. So bigger group forming again here, but now we're seeing Carlson at the front for the first time, and it looks like she, again, a little bit of intent there, pushing the pace a bit more.
It is, and Eva Anderson, they'll want almost revenge, I'd say revenge on themselves for their relatively poor performances yesterday. Their only thought was a podium yesterday. That didn't work out for either of them, so pushing very much harder today.
Yeah, I think so. I think pretty disappointing by their own standards yesterday to be top 15 outside of the top 10 there. So, and we know on their days that both of them are good classic skiers, good skate skiers, really good distance skiers, so they have the chance to do well here today if they've got the equipment working in their favour.
I think it seems to be, and yes, Carlson, huge surprise, 1 minute 21 behind yesterday in 14th position, only over a 10-kilometre classic. She's much better than that on paper. And Ebba Anderson, she's just dropped back a little now. Ebba Anderson, yes, 8th position yesterday, 44 seconds behind.
Yeah, quite a little lead swapping going on at the moment. Beng back in front now. Carl's been up there. Carlson has been at the front as well. So, a little bit of swapping and chopping and changing, and I think people pushing the pace for a little bit. Certainly Beng up that hill early on, but no one kind of, really taking the race on just yet.
Quite cruel. They're always and very frequently coming back down into the podium. The only problem with that is that it's the lowest point of the entire course, and then they have to go straight back up out of the stadium once again. But it's certainly for us and the spectators, it's a lovely spectacle.
Yeah, I think if so, you get 8 times through the stadium essentially. So for the spectators, it's brilliant. You can see how many people are out there now watching today, and you get so many opportunities to see the whole group coming past. Very
much. The white suits are slowly rising towards the front as maybe we expected. It's 4.7 kilometres, so just 1.1 kilometre now prior to the first of the bonus points on the track, where you can pick up 15 bonus points. Drink stops, 12 minutes, that's absolutely fine.
I think it's smart to take something on today. It should be an awful lot quicker than yesterday, so but you're still going to be out there for sort of 45-50 minutes, so I would take a drink early on maybe. Don't worry so much towards the end. It's about getting the energy in at the start, so you have something left for the finish.
I think it is. It's still warm temperatures, beautiful firm tracks. I think the organising committee has done a fabulous job here to make sure everything is as perfect as it can be.
And we've still got a good group together here, so pretty much almost 40 of the athletes here. A few dropped off a little bit further towards the back of the field, but the majority of the pack are still within. It is in one long line. It's not kind of 3 side to side or anything like that, but everyone is just about within touching distance of these lead athletes at the moment.
So the pace is quite firm. It is absolutely picking up as we go. 5 kilometres we've achieved, and quite a good time for 5 kilometres, 12:47. Now this long, who's that? Someone lost a ski pole. Sorry, I missed that, but a coach sprinting behind to try and hand one over. A new one. Jessie Diggins is back at the front. She's restless when she's slightly further back. She wants the freedom at the front.
Yeah, and as you say, these bonus points coming up soon at 5.8, so I think just to give herself a little bit of peace of mind, she'll be wanting to get these bonus points and just put everything out of mind for Lynn Svan. You know, she's got no chance of coming through. If she can get these first bonus points, you know, that's a weight off her shoulders.
You know, there's Lynn Svan, bib number 8. She's second in the overall world standing. It feels to me, Posey, she would be there if she was going to try and attack these points, but it feels to me the energy isn't with her today.
I think so, and Diggins definitely pushing the pace up now.
She certainly is.
And we've seen her do this so many times this season. She's willing to, it feels risky sometimes, I understand why she's doing it today, but she's pushing the pace for the bonus seconds, and then she'll ease off as soon as she gets over the line.
She needs it. This is a real attack from a long way out, a kilometre and a half out. She wants those 15 to just keep the comfort zone. That'll really secure her position safely. Victoria Kyle coming up on the left side, the German dark suit. She's kind of going off track. That's not ideal. Or is she? Am I misreading that? Well, yes, she did go to the left.
I think it's a little confusing markings, I have to say. I think these the sort of tree bits that you can see there is because the blue and the red, the two different 2.5K loops do come together there.
So confirmation, Jessie Diggins did pick up those 15 points, and apologies, Lynn Svan. She didn't get any. She just missed out by one position. Yeah. So that's very interesting. So that's a huge shift. Advantage towards Jessie Diggins. Jessie doesn't appear to be slowing down. I thought that she would do as you predicted, what Ashley has done so frequently this season. She'll grab the bonus points and then really back off in terms of pace. But not this time.
Yeah, it's always interesting as well. These bonus sections often break the pack up quite a lot. So it's, you know, if the pace doesn't ease off after, it often just leads the way for this group that's kind of gone for them to break away a little bit. And it is starting to change the shape of the race. We've not got quite so many people together as we did before.
Yes, it's stretching. The big names are there at the front. Most of the big names are. And I think that, yes, most of the coaches last night at team briefings will have expected Jessie Diggins to really press this quite hard to secure those first 15 points. She's achieved that, and now that places her 90 points ahead of Lynn Svan.
Yeah, it's a comfortable lead. She's got to be feeling good, so I think for me now she's got to relax. It's not the Diggins way, but not do any more work than she has to. Try and conserve some energy towards the end of the race. But I think the usual tactics for her are just make everyone work. And this is the hardest section of the course here, this long hill here. So again, this is where Beng attacked last time, and it is a chance where you can start to break the pack and drop some people off the back who aren't able to stay with a harder pace.
It's very interesting. Could it be that Jessie Diggins is wanting to go out and create almost a lap of honour at the front towards the end of this race and pick up all of the 130 points available, 100 for the win, and then 2 sets of sprint points of 15 each, 130 points at stake. It feels to me as if that's her aim now today, to win this one and maximise the points.
Yeah, I think this looks a little easier again now. I think she just ended up in front because of this, but we can see Beng looks comfortable. Those behind are looking comfortable with the pace.
So Jessie Diggins coming up towards 18 minutes and 6.8 kilometres. Is that a grimace on her face? The pace has been absolutely firm for the last 2 kilometres. She secured the first of the bonus points, 15 in her pocket already.
Yes, hard push over the top of the hill there. Everyone having to almost do a little, almost kind of jump skates. And again, we know Diggins is good at the downhill, so important. She'll be really working over the top there to get some good speed into it. But she is at the front, so there will be an advantage for everyone else in behind her.
So the 17 Posey and my take at the front, and that's down to Delphine Claudel, the French athlete, at 11 seconds. Then there's a gap of 5 seconds where those behind that 11th position, I think, are beginning to really suffer with this full-on pace.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those in the group behind, that gap for me is a decisive gap. I don't think they're going to be finding it easy to get that back. May come together a little bit on this downhill section again, as we always tend to see the pack coming back together. But I think those athletes are struggling with this pace. So next time it gets firmer again, those in that group from 18 and upwards are going to not manage to stay with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look at that. It was 5 seconds back to 12th place. It's certainly opening up further. And of course, Jessie Diggins is quite exceptional. She tucks so low. She really maximizes the descents. Have a look at that tuck. No one really tends to go lower. And then she works as well, free skating often down the fast and the flat sections. Welcome back. Just this moment, Victoria Karl, the German athlete, has gone to the front. Jessie Diggins there in 5th place, the yellow top. It appeared as if she wanted somebody to come through to take the lead pace, and I think that's sensible.
Yeah, I think so. She definitely stood up as she came, worked the downhill nicely, got some good speed on the downhill section as they came to this little bump in the stadium, almost stood up and looked around and allowed someone to come through.
Rosie Brennan, I saw Rosie Brennan there. Fabulous season she's also had. I'm trying to look at her position or find her in terms of the position.
Yeah, she was in that second group, so not able to stay with the faster pace when they went for the bonus points. Really slowed down again now. Look at this, loads of cat and mouse coming on. It looked like it might have been a decision by Diggins to go hard from the bonus points, but yet this is certainly slowed down again now, and that does allow people the opportunity to come back if they are able to, but I do think that we'll see someone pick it up again pretty soon.
Yes, it appears to be Victoria Karl, the tall figure at the front there, the German athlete. Previous best this season. We could maybe have time now, that might be a quietish part of the race to talk about real special memories throughout the season. For me, Victoria Karl, one of them. Previously never better than 5th. She's got her first ever win this year, 3 times second place and 1 time third. What a turnaround after 11 years of World Cup racing.
I know, and she was such a promising junior skier, and I think world champion many years ago, and had lots of promise, but it just shows it's so hard to make it on the World Cup level, and she had to chip away for so many years, and again, when she got that podium, the confidence made such a difference that suddenly it felt like she wasn't off it.
It's strange, isn't it? And very big names. Marit Bjørgen was there in her time, and of course the great Therese Johaug Isberg as well, so it was difficult to take many victories. Those 3 personalities were picking up most of them. Any other big memories of the season? I'm trying to think back all the way back to 24th of November when the first of the World Cup races started.
I guess early season we started with another 20k skates, and that was Moa Ilar, who I think had maybe a tougher season later on, but she had such a good start to the season with a first place in Ruka and then a 3rd place a couple of weeks later in Gällivare, and it's so hard to get noticed in that Swedish team because you've got Carlson and Anderson on the distance side, Svan and Sundling on the sprint side, but so for her to take that victory I think was personally really satisfying and really exciting to see her break through like that.
And I thought then that maybe Moa Ilar would be the big sensation of the season, but as you say, her candle burnt a little less bright after that throughout the rest of the season. And any other, I'm just trying to think of amazing races we've had. We've had so many brilliant races.
Yeah, well, I love to see Canmore, another one of these skate mass starts. We've got Laukli here, and then we've also got Claudel in this pack as well. So a real race for the climbers, that one in Canmore. And Laukli didn't quite make it on the podium, but she attacked so early on, and it was such an exciting race with endless attacks. Claudel took 2nd place, and for me, that kind of cemented Claudel as a contender in skate races. She's always been there in the hill climb for the last couple of years, but to see her break through in a more standard format as well was nice to see. So that was a great one for me. In fact, that whole sort of Canadian North American period was brilliant racing.
And the athletes loved that as well. It's logistically it's a bit of a nightmare of when you've got so many races, average 1 race almost every 3 days, and then that long journey to Canada and America. But the athletes loved it, and we saw many surprises there. And yes, Laukli at the front now. She's had her first ever win this year. It was the final day of the Tour de Ski, 10 kilometres with the final 3.5 kilometres up the steepest of climbs. A rise of over 410 metres in one single hit. An alpine downhill ski slope they have to ski up there. And Laukli at the front of this race now. She took her title there. Laukli, is she going to try and break free? It's not going to be easy at this stage. Nearly 9 kilometres achieved.
Yeah, Laukli's great on the climb, so I think her strategy here is just, I'm going to get to the front whenever there's a climb and I'm going to push the pace. I'm going to try and break this pack down. She's not going to be a challenger if there's a big group left at the finish, so for her, it's all about keeping the pace high, particularly on the uphill sections.
So the big personalities there. In fact, Flora Dolce's there. You were racing last weekend. Was Flora Dolce not in
Dolce
that
was
race with
also,
you?
yes, I'm not sure we can say we're quite in the same race, but yeah, I think some of the pure skate skiers decided not to race the Holmen Column last weekend, the 50k, because it was classic, and the Engadin ski marathon was the same weekend, so brutal conditions, actually very similar to yesterday. She did a lot of the grunt work in the Engadin, actually ended up in 5th place after leading for a lot of it, because it was so hard working through that. But the winner of that race, of the Engadin, is racing here today, down in bid 53, that's Maëlle Vert. So she's a really youngster for the French team. She's just 21 years old at the moment, and this is her first World Cup start today. So really exciting to see some new talent coming through for the French team.
It is, and well done to the French team for bringing her through after, well, she obviously showed her cards of strength in the Engadin Marathon. I'm just trying to find her where she is today, actually.
She seems to be, she's not quite up there. It's always, I think it is always, she's down in 44th at the moment. She's about a minute behind, so not keeping with the pace at the moment, but it's always a bit of a baptism of fire doing your first World Cup, and however well you've performed at junior, world under 23 level at these ski marathons, I think it's a step up to race on World Cup, and that's why you need to be brought through for experience, do this last race and then, train for it, prepare for next year.
Interesting. So, yep, many youngsters getting an opportunity today, but finding themselves at the moment this burning pace early on that Jessie Diggins set to just thin the field down. It's certainly slowed down a little now. Loudly now back in 5th place, and nobody really wants to lead when you're taking an average of 25. Coach nearly getting in the way there, not intentionally, of course. It's so difficult to feed your athletes.
Yeah, it's tricky, and everyone's going to be on that one side there, and they're coming through sort of two abreast, so you've got to cut across sometimes to get your drink, which is tricky.
I'm very impressed with Patricia Iduka. She was left behind she was one of those athletes back 5 seconds, but she's now made her way back up to this front group, so hanging on in there, and it'll be an easier journey with the pace slowing down now.
Yeah, it has real. It's definitely just see a little trip there, and again that shows how close it is together.
Guess who it was? Carlson.
Always Carlson. Always.
With respect to such wide placement of the poles.
But she's so focused on her own race, she doesn't tend to look at anyone else around it. You've got to ski within yourself, but it is important. And she's, the way that she's skiing, kind of awkwardly, a little bit too far to the side. It feels like, almost impinging on the line of Heidi Wenger.
Yeah, she almost did a little pirouette. Are we going to see it again? Let's have a look.
Yeah. I don't think that would, to be fair, she's not hugely off her line there. I think that's both of them just being a tiny little bit over and focusing on their own skiing.
And it's difficult. These skis between 170, 165 up to 1.9 meters long at the end of your feet. So coming back up this hill, which is the common factor in this race, with a new leader coming up. Great to see Krista Parmakoski. Well, no, I misread that. She's on the left, bib 18. I thought she was going to come through, but it's now Sweden again. Ebba Andersson at the front. Lauklev, the American athlete, on the right. Where's Jessie Diggins?
Let's just say that's a 22, just having a little go there. That's Flora Dolce, who we mentioned earlier. So I think maybe getting a little bit impatient and trying to come round and get further up that line of athletes, but then a few people stepped in front of her. So it has slowed down again. There's been a couple of bursts. I think Beng pushed the first time up the big hill. Diggins pushed with the bonus points, but then since that we've seen it certainly slow down again. We were down to a pack of about 15 at one point, and now we've got almost 30 athletes back together again.
We have, and Lynn Svan's still in there, looking quite relaxed mid-pack there, but Jessie Diggins has fallen back, probably intentionally back around to the same position, hovering alongside Lynn Svan. So they'll just be wanting, or Jessie, there's Jessie now about 10th, 11th place. Lynn Svan right in behind her, so first and second in the overall World Cup standings, keeping an eye on each other.
I think smart by Diggins, just she's done the bonus points, get in the pack for a little bit and don't do all the work.
Yes, 10 kilometres has been achieved. Lap 3 of 4, well, they're big laps.
Yeah, interested to see if anyone else is going to go soon. This has been quite pedestrian for a couple of kilometres now, and we're into the second half of the race. There's, a lot of people to break away here.
So welcome back. It's well, we're half distance, 28:42 on the clock. We're over half distance, and the pace has settled again. It's been a very much pace-changing race, started aggressively by Jessie Diggins, and then various different leaders, including Loudly, Jessie Diggins' teammate, bib 16. She's still restless in second place, but being led right now by Ebba Andersson. The Swedes won podiums today after, yes, they did achieve a podium yesterday in Sundling, but their distance athletes didn't perform the way they had expected, and revenge today, I think.
I think they'll be hoping so on home soil, and we're now approaching again this hard hill on the course, and that is a good opportunity to break away if you want to. If you can push the pace up the hill, that's what's happened a couple of times. It's slowed down again and allowed people to get back into the race, but if you really want to make a serious break, this is where you've got to do it.
Well, maybe it's in the shape of Victoria Karl at the front, second.
Yeah, and Andersson looking like Andersson meaning business. This is what she looks like when she's going for it. The tempo rises. She starts working hard. Just to say, there was another little stumble from Carlson there. She's got to pay attention to the skiers around her. She's always the one getting into trouble here.
It's a shame. Yes, she needs a bit of space, and all the athletes around her are aware of that scenario, so they'll be a little careful or caring, let's say, not to get too close. Rosie Brendan's still there, bib number 6. She was struggling a little earlier, but finding herself in the race. 13 again, Claudel has not really gone for the pace changes. I'm still feeling good for Claudel, 13, the French athlete.
Yeah, she's a little further back than I'd like to see her. If you want to be in this race, you have to be in the top kind of 10 or so in the pack, because if Andersson does ramp the pace up or not, you've got a lot of traffic to get through. There's 28 in this lead group at the moment. It's a big, big group, so if you're far back, it's not a good position to be in.
It's not. Dolce, 20, when you look at the bib numbers, the lower the bib number, either the less races they've attended or the less points they've achieved. But so from a lower ranking, Dolce absolutely looking brilliant right now.
But she's had a 5th in Canmore and 4th in Östersund, so she's skate distance races are her bread and butter. So this is her opportunity today.
This really is. She knows that, and when it's the last race of the season, mentally you just, even though the legs are tired, the mind is tired, throw everything at it, put all your cards on the table. Coming up to 11.8 kilometers. Victoria Karl leading. She's I was going to say maybe more specialised in classic skiing. Her classic is strong, but her freestyle is almost equally as strong. Laukli, Dolce, Carlson, Veng, Niskanen, and the yellow bib of Jessie Diggins 4 seconds behind, but that's not a worry. Parmakoski's in there as well. And what about Parmakoski? His memories of races, 6-year drought in terms of winning a World Cup, and then back home in Finland and Lahti, she won that race. She was so emotional.
Oh, she was so emotional. It was really nice to see, and to do it on home soil, I think it is always special to win in front of a home crowd. But yeah, the almost the relief of being so close and then waiting for Carl to cross the line, who ended up in second. And got a tough day to do as well. That course in Lahti is absolutely brutal. So.
It's as tough as it gets, really, isn't it? And this one's not unsimilar with the undulations, but they've selected a slightly easier course today.
Yeah, they could have been really mean and made them go 4 times up the biggest hill on the course here, but they have gone the slightly easier way. It's still got a lot of climb. We've got 728 metres of climb today.
It's brutal. Dolce's skis look fabulous at the front. Jessie Diggins coming through from 8th. She was up into 3rd or 4th on this long run into the stadium.
Yeah, this looks okay to me. That's actually quite a good view of the ski speed, and I don't think anyone looks like they've got really bad skis, so you can see sometimes people dropping off the back. There's, as you say, Diggins good skis as always.
Great skis
right up to the front there, but I think the Swedes who struggled yesterday look okay. Finns are in there, no one kind of too far out.
So this is the pace building up. Is it building up already for that 15.8 kilometre next bonus points? It's a bit early, isn't it?
A bit early, I think, but I think there are people that are going to be getting restless because this is a big pack at this point. We've done 12.5 kilometres, 7.5 to go, and there's still a big group together.
There is. I'm feeling a little sorry for Lynn Svan. She's in here, bib 8, missed her there. Now there she is, looking like she's extremely tired today. She would certainly be further up towards the front if she had the energy, I feel. and maybe she's saving something for later, but running out of time at nearly 12 kilometres.
Yeah, I think she's playing a smart game though. If she's not feeling good, the place to be is in the middle of the pack where you're getting as much protection as possible. So she missed out on the bonus points, and for me that suggests that she's kind of accepted, that overall was not going to happen today. But I did think that they might have tried to attack that, but now it's just about positioning, energy conservation until the end of the race.
Possibly. It's coming up wide on the left, just the cameras now, or the pack have now cut her out. It's Bergan from Norway. The green bib, she's leading the under-23 title throughout this whole World Cup. There she is, the small figure on the far side. We'll see her again next camera shot, I hope. And have a look at the back. This is when things begin to really suffer. Aduka, for me, has been on the edge. There she is from Latvia for so long in this race. Love the way she skis, love her attitude and her positivity. A little bit like Jessie Diggins. Every day's a sunny day.
Absolutely, but yeah, looking at, I think she's been really yo-yoing on and off the back and struggling to stay with it there. And 15, that's Rebohm. I think again a sprinter who's maybe finding the 20k a little bit tough.
I think so. She has to perform well over distance as well. And Rebohm, that's another surprise. Not a surprise, but she took the first 2 sprint races of the season. She came third in the third one, and I thought she was going to be the big name throughout the season. But then she burnt off a little, didn't she?
Yeah, there's been a few who've at this pace, by the way, absolutely slowing to a halt. I thought someone would want to take it on here because this is such a 20k. There's a lot of distance skiers in here who aren't who just won't benefit from having that. So now we're seeing Niskanen and Laukli coming through. As I said, there's people in here who can't afford for this pace to be that slow because they've got no hope in a sprint.
That's it, and that's maybe why Niskanen decided it's my turn at the front. Here's Laukli. Laukli, for me, bib 16 just gone through. She's looking pretty good and smooth and determined today. So the pace has calmed down a little for now. Niskanen and Victoria Karl at the front. So the endurance, the glycogen is left in the muscles from the previous 2 days here. The sprint races on Friday, the 10-kilometre classic yesterday, both in horrific weather. But today, the day is much brighter, and that at least will help the athletes feel a little better mentally. Aduka still hanging on at the back there.
Yeah, I think that really Janatova and Aduka there, the two at the back, I think would be off if this pace had stayed at the higher level again. But again, everyone slowed down, so much cat and mouse going on at the front, and that's benefiting those at the back of the pack who I think would be struggling if the pace was more consistently higher, but they're able to keep hanging on because of the games that are being played at the front. Well, I think that's a broken pole, one of the Swedes there. I didn't see what happened, but I just saw one of the Swedes waving their pole, trying to get a new one, so hopefully we'll get a view of who that was. And
that's the risk with this tight pack racing, and the pace slowing down has allowed the pack to come back together, so desperately in need of a ski pole. Was it Carlson? I think it might have been Carlson.
We'll have to hopefully see that.
Let's have a look. Well, the coaches will be up without a doubt on this hill. Certainly, if it's not our own Swedish coach, generally the coaches are pretty fair and equal, will help out an athlete. We've seen that many times in cross-country skiing. 13.9 kilometres achieved from a 20-kilometre race. Jessie Diggins restless at the front. It's only 2 kilometres till the next of the bonus points. Welcome back to the pace picking up once again. Jessie Diggins just moved to the front. Let's have a look. Oh, not a good time to fall.
It is Carlson.
Oh, it's Carlson.
Always. And I think, I don't know if Slynn's broken her pole as well there.
Her right pole is broken.
When the same person is always involved, then I have to say it's that person's fault. And for me, that's Carlson. She's got no track awareness. She's always just thinking about her own race, and it's a problem for other people around, but it's a problem for herself as well.
It really is, and she did get that disqualification, where were we, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, in Lahti in the sprints, and I think rightly so. I think she needs to learn to pay more attention, and I think the only way she's going to do that is a couple of DQs or a couple of some penalties.
Well, given that the Swedes and the Norwegians understand each other, I did notice that Astrid Irish Slynd was having a conversation, let's just say, Oh no, it's really annoying, and losing your momentum at the bottom of that steep climb, it really does disrupt your race.
Absolutely, and it's so frustrating for Slyn because now she's at the back of this pack, and as you said, it's a big group. We got 28 skiers all together here, so there's a lot of traffic to get through, and it's so risky to be at the back because if someone does decide to go, it's been okay so far. There's been a lot of caginess and no one willing to take it on, but if they do, you just can't react when you're that far back.
Well, Carlson has lost at least 16 seconds. She's in 27th position now, and Astrid Irish-Lind, she's slightly further ahead in 24th, so it really has disrupted their races.
Yeah, there they are right at the back of the pack, so that's Carlson just passing Iduka. I think Slynn's still looking for a different pole. She's managed to replace it, but possibly not the right size or the right handle.
And the coaches have seen that on the big screen, so they'll be now running, trying to find the best possible pole to hand over to Astrid Irish-Lind.
She should somewhere in the stadium here. There should be plenty of coaches in the stadium for her to be able to get a replacement if she does need one.
Posey just over a kilometre to go for the next of the bonus points. Jessie Diggins will become restless again. I think the pace is going to pick up. I'm quite sure heading up to this kilometre. There she goes. It's a long, long way out. There's another pole. Who's that? That's
Carlson again. Again, she did manage to get the right. I think that was just getting the right pole that she needed.
Oh, that's really disrupted her race. She was hoping for a podium today. It's now a challenge. I'm impressed with Heidi Venn, still thereabouts. Well, second place. She's determined towards the front of this one. Eva Anderson there, bib 3. She was expected to be up the front for most of the race.
Slyn looking around as well there. I'm not sure if that means, I don't know if Slyn is happy with the pole she's got. She would have had an opportunity to change, but Carlson's not got either handle on, but I think she's waiting for a time when there's a bit of a glide so she can I don't know if it's because they're too long or if she's just waiting for somewhere where there's glides so she can put them in without losing any time.
Exactly that. So maybe on the top of this little rise here she'll get an opportunity. Let's have a look. How was this pit stop? Could be better.
Yeah, but I think, that's from the Swedish coach, I think, so that should be the right length of pole for her. It's just waiting for the time to get it on.
And all around Sweden right now, in front of in every living room in front of the telly, everyone will be furious. This is their big hope. Frida Karlsson in this race alongside Eva Anderson. But going through difficult times. Bib 12, that's Jonna Sundling quietly, not at the front. She's at the front part of the race, but hasn't taken any lead time on yet. There's Stadlober from Austria, having had a good season, 3 times fourth in distance racing.
Yeah, plenty of athletes playing it smart and just hiding in the pack here. Bib 19, that's Anchesi Calva, had a terrible day yesterday, I'd say. She's down in 40th position, so she's going to be looking for revenge after that today.
Redemption,
that's the one.
Yes, she's looking good. Calva not playing any part really, and she'll pick up bonus points here, but not really going for the front pace. Jessie Diggins, well, I thought she might try and pick up all 130 points today. Is she going to get all 30 of the bonus points? She certainly is. And that's all towards the Gruyere bonus trophy as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty much sealed it now. I think going into the day it was looking good for her, but Svan again hasn't picked up a single point there, so I think Svan, she's just tired, isn't she? It's been a long season for her as well, and the momentum that she had, I think, just not quite able to carry on into these last couple of days of racing. That's her. Just bib 8 just come over the line now.
She's tired, but I do think, Posey, yesterday's lower than expected performance, 18th, has affected Svan.
That's Carlson. They're still not put those pole handles on.
She will now.
Surely she will.
Yes, Lynn Svan expecting much more yesterday than 18th position. It was vital for her to get into the top 6, top 5. Jessie Diggins managed to achieve that 5th yesterday. That, for me, was outstanding. And the significant race at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was a gritty race from Diggins, and I think Svan's been really good in distance as well, and particularly in Classic. I think they're pretty even, those two, on Classic distance races, and I think if Svan had been more competitive, that could have made it a close battle today, but they did struggle with the skis, and again, she looked tired, Svan, and again today, for me, she's holding in the pack, but she's not driving the pace, she's not leading, she's just managing to hang on.
Survival, really, isn't it? And the more this race travels down the track towards the finish line, and with Jessie Diggins' very fast glide, the better I'm feeling about a win for Jessie Diggins.
Yeah, Beng now is working hard. This is about another serious attack. Interesting to see if she keeps it going after here, but this is the first real serious uptick of pace we've seen for a while, and it is spreading the pack out much more than we've seen in a long time.
Oh, the tired legs of the pack. This is a test for anybody. It's a test for Heidi Weng and for Jessie Diggins at the front, but they're trying to live with it. Here's Eva Anderson, one of the two big hopes today, and struggling at this point. And Carlson, with her ski pole incident, she really has wiped herself out for any part in this attack that's going on now.
Yeah, sadly, I think she's possibly ruined Slynn's day as well, who's back in 21st at the moment. Carlson at least got the pole done now, and she is making a little way of time up some of these, but the gaps to the front are too big now. And yeah, this is serious skiing from Heidi Weng. She's looking behind, seeing who else is there, but I think it's going to be up to her. She's got to drive this on with Diggins. The two of them have just got to attack the whole way if they want any chance. And that's Sundling in behind them again today.
She's just quietly under the radar, just ploughing on, punching hard. Third on Friday, third yesterday, and Sundling is in third position again at this point. Brilliant,
so
absolutely
fascinating
brilliant.
to see what she's going to think of for future years. She's always been known as a sprinter, but she was fourth in the 30k at the Olympics in 2022. She had that win in Minneapolis. You know, she's got distance form, and is she going to go that way in future? It's a fascinating question for her.
Yes, Sundling kind of stole Jessie Diggins' glory back home, but Jessie was on the podium in Minneapolis, her home city.
So proper breaks in the pack now. 12 seconds back to Nomi McCabe, having a really good one there in front of her teammate Brennan. Anderson struggling with the pace of that group, and Slynn just coming through.
It's been very significant. I love the way that attack, Heidi Weng, Jessie Diggins together, because this section is all about the glide and the tuck back down into the low point, and they'll get a real advantage here.
Yeah, they've got a good gap here. Again, I think in this, it's such a long haul in the stadium that people can come back together. And we saw last time they did this, Diggins almost stood up as they went over the hill in the stadium to say, well, who's going to take this on now? But I just wonder, they're getting towards the end of the race. There's less than 4k to go. I just think they might just push from now through to the finish.
It feels that way, doesn't it? There's momentum. They've realised that they've damaged. Heidi Weng looking behind. Yes, who can live with my pace? She set the pace initially or halfway up the hill, and she's got company in her own team, of course. There,
yeah, that is Calver. The good skis from Calver felt like she was able to make a little bit of ground up there. She was a couple of seconds behind over the top, but then the glide managed to get back in the slipstream. And these three have got a little bit of a gap, but I think Sundling is going to really push hard, and that's Niskanen as well. Great race from Niskanen in the skate race. They're both pushing 100% here to try and get on the back of this lead three or make it a serious breakaway.
Well, they realise this is the moment. Can't let Jessie Diggins, Heidi Weng and Calver get away. We need to try and get in the slipstream now, and it's not easy because Niskanen is very much a classic skier. All her victories have come in classic style. Parmakoski's there as well. She's not going to give up easily. So 2 Finns, 2 Norwegians, 1 American. There's the 2 Norwegians chasing the great Jessie Diggins.
Yeah, look behind, I think, just trying to assess the damage that's done. And now this is the race is getting serious. There's been so much tactics, no one wanting to take it on, but I think now 2.5 kilometers to go. It's going to be hard from here to the finish.
It is. Calver looking very good in 3rd place. So the heat is on, coming into the final lap here in Falun of the final day of racing in the Women's World Cup. It's not been a particularly easy season with the freezing cold temperatures. The first 3 World Cups in Finland, then Scandinavia with Sweden and Norway. Each race was down around minus 17 in those early days, but beautiful in Falun for the final race. Here are the chasing athletes, and I think Posey, is it safe to say now that it's difficult to bridge this gap back to the front from this point?
I agree with that. I think there's not enough time, and I don't think that we're going to see the easing in pace we've seen before. I think it's going to be full blast from now to the finish. I think there's a good gap opened up from the front athletes there, and they got no interest in letting anyone come back, so we're just going to see those open. That's a quick glimpse of Anderson as well we saw back there. Again, just a disappointing season for me. I thought she'd want to be up there today just to kind of finish on a high, but she's really struggled.
And you know, the brief in the Norwegian camp last night would be, okay, we've got to beat the Swedes at home, and there's 2 red suits of Norway up the front, and the Norwegians, I think we can safely say, have underperformed by our expectations, by their coaches' expectations, by their nation's expectations.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of criticism of the Norwegian women's team throughout the season. They've had Skistad in the sprints, who's had an absolutely standout season, but beyond that, a couple of podiums for Heidi Weng. None of the others have been there, and Calva after the breakthrough season last year has been really disappointing. So it would be a good way to end if she could stay on that podium there.
Jessie Diggins must be tired. She's mentally tired. She's physically tired, and so much pressure when. Largely through her performances, she brought the World Cup to America for the first time in 21 years this year, and the athletes loved it, the coaches loved it, and we certainly loved it.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know if it's just the angle that we're getting here, but Sundling is putting on some serious work here to try and get on the back. She's so close to bridging the gap up to these top three, and if she can, that is going to be danger, because we know she is the out-and-out best sprinter in this group.
And the coaches trackside hotel asking, pleading with Sundling, get in the back, get in the slipstream, because they know full well, as you say, the sting in her tail towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think she's done that. I think she's just about on the tail of Calva here. This is looking good for Sundling. What a move that was.
And the athlete will loudly still up there in 8th place for the American. Novi McCabe is trying to bring the big pack back in, but it's not working.
Yeah, that was so impressive from Sundling though, because I thought often if one comes back, the whole of the group comes with her, but she's been so powerful. The Parmakoski and Niskanen and Carl, who were there, weren't able to stay with her, but she's able to bridge up to these top three.
I'm not sure that Sundling's skis are gliding like she would hope, because I'm surprised. She was free skating there. Calva's got great skis, we've seen that, but Sundling's still not bridging the gap totally.
No, I agree with that. I think she was pretty much on the back there, and then she lost it a little bit again. So yeah, the skis, she must have had good skis yesterday, not quite so much today. So she's got to do so much work. This is the course she knows well. They're back on the sprint course. She's got to work. She knows this course inside and out, 4 times around it on Friday.
So we're at 18.9 kilometres, the very final stages of this track. It is the sprint course, and Sundling getting all the support, but appears to be failing at the latter stages of this race. The two Finns, the two massive names of Finnish cross-country, Parmakoski, Niskanen, they cannot live with this pace, and I think they're going to have to settle for a non-podium position. Where's Sundling? Where is she?
So frustrating for Sundling. She did all that work to get back, and I think her skis are just not on a par with the top three. She did all that work, and as soon as they put it downhill, not there. Diggins is doing all the lead-out work here again. She always does this. She's done so much work, and this course is tactical. We see it in the sprint. If you're leading here, you can come round in the stadium, and then it's a long drag up the finish, and there's a lot of work still to be done here.
And you need super fast skis. Jessie Diggins, for me, has got super fast skis. She's trying to break the meters so they don't draft in behind her. Calva, we know, has got super fast skis. What a shame that Sundling for Sweden isn't there. She could not live with the 2 steep climbs. Jessie Diggins, look at that gap. She works every aspect of the downhill and the cornering.
I think they'll take this back though. It looks like a gap that we always see in the stadium that you can cut. It's not enough that they're not going to get back round to her. And again, as you say, Calva's skis are good. I think Weng's are good. They will come back on, and then it's going to be a sprint down this finish.
I'm getting nervous. I kind of thought and predicted that Jessie would pick up all 130 points. It's certainly not over yet. The Norwegians you said would come through fast on this section. Jessie's not going to let them through easily. Oh, it's so important to get a good line into the finish. Jessie Diggins showing the true grit and desire that she's shown from day one at the World Cup. She's going to take the overall world title for the 2nd time, but she still has to negotiate the right-hander and the final 150 metres. Can she end on a high as you can get by winning the last race? I think she can. Oh, here comes Weng. Where's Calva? Calva's not moving forward. It's a Jessie Diggins day, just to cement, just to say that I am the best. Nobody can touch me, not even on the final race. Jessie Diggins takes the win in Falun. Well, she does now. And Heidi Weng 2nd place and Calva 3rd. Incredible performance. What a day. And sadly for Sundling, it's a 4th position. Niskanen, Parmakoski and Victoria Carl coming across now. Oof, what a race.
Oh, great, good battle as well for the rest of the top 10 here. Huge pack back together.
It is. It's going to be a photo finish there for the 3. I think it was Slind for me and Theodorsson in there as well. Brennan, McCabe, Martin Talo, Dolce. Skis weren't great, held her back a little. Yeah. And Carlson for 14th place again. She was 14th
Yeah, she made up a little bit of ground there. She passed some of these people coming in were in that pack, but yet that cost her dearly. That and Slind, it cost the two of them big time. That tangle that they had. And
it was a vital part of the race to break two ski poles at the bottom, to fall into the bottom of the steepest climb, and then detangle, then pick up some poles. But what a great day for Jessie Diggins, for the American team, for Matt Whitcomb in charge of the program. His positivity and his team-building ability, I think, has been exceptional. They work for each other all the way down the line.
I think he's been a brilliant coach. I love hearing him talk. He got interviewed yesterday, and they said, how do you feel about this battle between Diggins and Svan? And he said, everyone's talking about that. Apart from us, we're just focusing on what we control, and we're trying to take the pressure off her. And I think, it's been a really hard season for her, but what a way to end, and really proved that she deserved that.
She really did. 130 points at stake today. She's grabbed them all, and there's her teammates standing around her trying to get her off the ground, actually. Come on, Jessie. Amazing.
Yeah, and just nice to see Veng on the podium again, and Anna Kjersti Kalva, 40th position yesterday. So disappointing. All that criticism of the Norwegian women's team, not performing like they're expected. 2 on the podium in the last day. I think that's just a bit of a message. We are still here and we can perform.
Well, yes, they have been receiving quite a hard time, and they've certainly lifted their spirits and their game today. Sweden wanted a podium. They wanted nothing less today, but not even the great Sundling and her sprint prowess carrying them through. Rebohm, the sprinter, 33rd. Gimler, Dahlqvist, she won the overall sprint last season. Dahlqvist not as good this year. Jessie's back. Loudly supporting Jessie there. She finished 17th, only 34 seconds behind. Just didn't quite have the sting later in the race.
No, she worked a little bit earlier on. We saw her come to the front a few times in the first half, but then as the pace got serious, I think she wasn't able to stay with it. And she's good on the climbs, but she's got work to do to have that same aggression on the flat sections and to have the technique to sort of really work the downhills like we see Diggins do. So she's got a bit of work to do to be an all-rounder, but it's been a breakout season for her, and I think she can be proud. Brennan hasn't featured today, but great first half of the season, a good all-rounder. And I think, they're all going to be happy for their own seasons, but for sure happy for Diggins.
I think so. I think Jessie, it looked kind of nerve-wracking the last week, and especially in the Holmenkollen 50-kilometre last Saturday for the women. Jessie looked very tired there, and I think it was 24th position, just to confirm that. But what a brutal race that was. 11th